Hello, my dear students. Today it's our time to do the chapter Work, Power, Energy. And in this video, I'll be covering you up or I'll be introducing you to these three new terms, that is work, power, and energy. We'll come to know what is work, what is power, and what is energy. So keep your classwork ready. You have to write whatever I'll be doing on the board. Okay, so let's start. So we'll start with work. What is work and how we can measure it, what is the expression, what is the definition, and what is the concept of work, that we'll come to know now. Basically, first we have to understand that why the concept of work came in physics. It came in physics to actually justify or actually showcase or actually deliver the concept of energy. That was the primary function of work, or this mechanical work that we are going to do today. That came in physics. So at that point of time, the people used to see that, fine, suppose, say this example, we are pushing a car. Suppose we have a breakdown or something and now we are pushing. We have seen this in our time, a lot of times maybe. So when we are pushing, so what we are doing, we are applying a force and we are having a displacement because there is a motion, whatever small or large that may be, but there will be. So after pushing all this, we feel exhausted. Why? Because we are applying our energy in order to push the car. So in that way, we say, what we say? We say that we have done a huge work, that we have pushed a car. Okay? Second, suppose suddenly you have this fanatic idea that, okay, fine, if you can push a wall, the wall will fall. Okay, and with that intention, you started giving a huge force on a wall, and ultimately, after a long time, you see that you are exhausted, but you have done nothing, not even a scratch to this wall. It is as it is where it was. So there is no displacement. So here also you are feeling exhausted, and here also you are feeling exhausted. So you have spent some amount of energy. So that thing, that you have this capacity, but when we come to work, we wanted to categorize, or we wanted to have this a particular justification that when work is done when a force applied on an external body will make it to have certain displacement in the direction of the force. I am repeating, work is only done when a force applied to an external body. Work is only done when a force applied to an external body can cause that body to have displacement in the direction of the force. In the direction of the force. This is the definition of work. So until and unless we have force and displacement, we cannot say that we have done work. So in this case, we haven't done any work here because there was no displacement. So is that clear? Only when you are actually displacing, then only the work will be done. So work is what? How it is measured? Work is measured by the product of force and displacement. So this is the example, and it is a scalar quantity. Very surprisingly, that it is a scalar quantity in spite of the fact that these two are vectors. Force is a vector quantity, displacement is a vector quantity, but work is a scalar quantity. Why it is so? You will come to know when you will go to higher classes. In class 11, you will learn the concept of vector, and then you will understand it more clearly. But right now, due to our own limitations, we don't know a lot of things. We don't know the proper amount of trigonometry that we require, and a lot of other things are involved. So I am not able to explain you why this is a scalar. But right now, you have to have this knowledge that in spite of the fact that the work is a product of two vector quantities, it is itself is a scalar quantity. So this is the expression. Now this is the thing that how we can measure work. But now we have to understand that actually how we can measure work. Suppose we had a simple example here. Now I am taking a bit complex example in a sense that suppose we have a block and someone is pushing it at this parallel horizontally, and finally the block is rising here. So the force is in this direction and the displacement is in this direction. So we can understand that force and displacement, they have a particular angle, and that angle is the angle of inclination. Then what happens to the work? The work, they say, the total complete expression of work is basically F into S, and we say in the direction of the force. If this total displacement is then what will be the base here? This is hypotenuse, this is base. So what I can say, cos theta is base by hypotenuse. This is base, this is hypotenuse. So base is equal to hypotenuse into cos theta. So S is the hypotenuse. So W equals to Fs cos theta, and this is the expression of the work. By this only we are doing we find out the magnitude of the work, and eventually you can understand that how it came. Like this situation, force and displacement, they are aligned at an angle of 0 degree. Cos 0 is 1, and then work done is F into S only. Okay, but the actual expression is W equals to Fs cos theta. Alright, now we'll come to know more about work. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so I was describing you that the expression of work is W equals to Fs cos theta. Now this theta is very important, okay, because this theta can take a lot of angles, and is having a quite large range of angles that it can take. But for us, we have only 3 cases is listed in our syllabus, and that is what we are thinking. The first case is theta is equal to 0. So force and displacement, they are in the same direction. So obviously you can understand that cos 0 is 1, and from that case W is equal to Fs. Now we have given a name to it. We call it work done by the force. This word is very important. Please remember this. They can ask you to describe a situation when his work is done by the force. It is done by the force because both are aligned in the same direction. Okay. Now, I was telling you in the just few minutes earlier that there is a situation that you are applying a lot of force, but ultimately you are not doing any work. Now that can also happen, and that is our case 2, and in that case we can say that theta is 90 degree. So work in this case, if these two are 90 degree, the direction of force and direction of displacement, then you can understand that cos 90 is 0. This you know from the standard table of trigonometry. Okay, so cos 90 0 means W is equal to 0. It doesn't matter whether you are applying a force and you are having a displacement, doesn't matter. If they are 90 degree, then there is no work, and that is called no work, I repeat, no work force. Okay, I can cite you an example. Suppose a person is holding an attache case or a suitcase. So he is actually giving a force upward and he is walking horizontally. We are just holding a suitcase and we are just walking. So what I am doing, I am giving a force vertically upward and walking horizontally. So in this case, you can understand that this angle is 90 degree, and in this case the work done is definitely 0. So this is what I said, no work force. Okay, even the earth is revolving around the sun. Suppose this is the sun and this is the earth, then it is revolving, but ultimately when the displacement it comes back to 1 revolution, the displacement is 0. So obviously the work is 0, displacement is 0, is work is 0. But if you think, now we know the concept of centripetal force, it is directed towards the sun, it is holding it, and the displacement occur at each interval is definitely like this. So this angle is again theta is 90 degree. Theta here is 90 degree, and we can say here that there is no work. Alright, so these are the two cases. Now let us move to the third one and the final one, the case 3 out here, and you can see then the theta is 180 degree. This value you don't know. When cos theta, theta is 180 degree, cos 180, just remember this for now. When you go to 11, you will automatically come to know it is minus 1. So what is coming then? W equals to minus Fs. Alright? Now here a negative sign is coming, and whenever you get this negative sign, you can surely say that this is work is done. Definitely there is a work done, because we have a magnitude of this product. Work done against the force. This is against the force. Work done against the force. Against word is very important, because we are doing, we can cite an example. Suppose, please see here and do copy in your classwork. Suppose you have thrown a ball from the ground and it is moving up. So its weight is always vertically downward. So it is downward, but the displacement is upward. So what is the work done? This work done is definitely negative. Alright. So whenever we do work against gravity, that work is negative. So this is called work done against the force. That means against the gravity, what we can say. Alright, just now I'll explain what is the work done against gravity. I'll show you the expression. Okay, please check it out. So we were discussing about this negative work done against the force. And let me now tell you what is work done against gravity or against the weight. Work done against gravity. Let us do this. So I'll be citing the simple example. Suppose a ball is moving upward, it is rising to a height of h, and it is moving upward. It is moving upward. So displacement is positive as per the sign convention, and it is moving upward for the weight, which is mg. So if I go for the work done, it is the minus mg into displacement. So work done is minus mgh. This w is for weight, don't confuse. So negative sign, what does this indicate? The negative sign says us, negative sign indicates that it is against the force weight, that is mg. This is the thing. So this is, whenever, remember one thing, whenever you get an expression for work which is negative and you can assure that okay fine, we have done a work against gravity or against a force, remember one thing, whenever we have this negative sign, we are very much aware of one point, that is we have done work against some force which is a binding force. Like we are all bound to the earth, to the center of the earth through our weight, because due to the presence of acceleration due to gravity here, mg, that we are citing here. And so whenever I am trying to lift something up or whatever it is in the vertical direction, I am doing work against that binding force, and whenever we are doing work against binding force, that is always negative. We'll come to know these concepts more when we'll go to higher classes, but right now just remember as an information, and this is the expression so we can understand what is the work done for against gravity. The magnitude is W equals to mgh, and this is very important expression. We have to use this expression quite a lot. Okay, so now this work part is almost over. Now we'll move into the another part, which is power. So before going into the power section, let us complete the units of work, because we have to define the unit. And you know that work done is equal to Fs. So W equals to Fs, this is the basic thing. Force has a unit of Newton, displacement is meter. So you can understand this is called Newton meter, and this Newton meter is also the SI unit of moment of force. So we try to discriminate this from the moment, because functionally they are almost similar. So 1 Newton meter, and we called it Joule. In the name of the scientist, Joule, and we can just write capital J instead of writing the whole unit, that is in small j O-U-L-E. And so what is 1 joule? 1 joule is the work of when an external force of 1 Newton, 1 joule is the amount of work when, please write down, 1 joule is the amount of work when a force of 1 Newton displaces a body. Force of 1 Newton displaces a body by a displacement of 1 meter by the displacement of 1 meter in the direction of the force. In the direction of the force. So this is the definition, and we have kilojoule, which is actually 10 to the power 3 joule and all. We can have megajoule and whatever. So higher units are also there. And for CGS, it is dyne centimeter. We do not have any other unit here. Is dyne centimeter, and that we call erg. Again, for that moment of force, so we call it erg. And you can understand that 1 joule is 1 Newton into 1 meter, and so this is 10 to the power 5 dyne, and this is 100 centimeter. So we can actually say that 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 ergs. Okay, so this is the expression for conversion of joule to ergs or ergs to joule. This is the thing. So please do copy in your classwork. And now, since we have already done this unit of work done, so now we can move into the concept of power. So what is power? Let us do that. Power, we simply say one thing, that I have that much of power, that is that how I am capable of doing work, at what rate I can do work, and that is power. So it is defined as the rate of doing work. Please write down, the rate of doing work is called power. Okay, so what is power? Power is work done by time. So you can understand it is joule per second is the unit. I am coming what we call this joule per second. So power equals to work done by time, and this is the expression of power, and it is always measured in joule per second or watt. I am coming to that. And again, I can actually rearrange this expression. W by T. W is F into S by T. So I can write F into S by T, and you can see this is displacement by time, so this is velocity. You can also say speed, because we are assuming that both are in the same direction, so direction doesn't matter much. So I can say that power is equal to force into velocity. This is also an expression. Power is equal to force into velocity, or average velocity, or average speed even you can say, because the directions are not changing in this case. So in that way, since we had a definition that work done is equal to W is equal to F S cos theta, so you can even write this is equal to FV cos theta, but this only used in this class. This will require in higher classes, but for the sake of information, please note it down. Alright, so we have this power equals to force into velocity. Power is the rate of doing work, this we know. So what we can say about the unit of power, already I have said, written there, SI unit is joule per second, and this joule per second is known as watt. Is James Watt, who invented the steam engine, that watt is the unit of power. And we have higher units, kilowatt, which is 10 to the power 3. We have megawatt, which is commonly used in electricity, it's 10 to the power 6 watt. And we have like gigawatt, which is 10 to the power 9, and all. This way we can go on. But right now we have another interesting unit for this power, because you see, one system of unit is now almost obsolete, which was invented by the British people, that is FPS system. And in FPS system, the British used to measure the power of their engine and everything in horsepower. Okay, so horsepower is the standard unit for the British system, and eventually, even in today, we usually write the power of an engine, or like for a car, for electric engines for the railways, or the diesel engines for the railways, even for the bike and everything. You'll see for bike and car we usually say BHP, which is brake horsepower, that how much power we have to apply when the bike or the car is moving at its top speed in order to stop it. So that is called brake horsepower, BHP. And this horsepower is used for other technical machines, mechanical machines like water pump and other thing, and they are already, these are mentioned like in horsepower, so it is not that way obsolete. So we have to know, and we have to just know a simple relation. And horsepower, 1 HP, please write down 1 HP, 1 horsepower is approximately 746 watt. This you have to remember, or you can say 0.746 kilowatt. Alright, that is also thing. You can also write this 0.746 kilowatt. Okay, this is also you can write. So 1 horsepower is 746 watt, and this is what we call about power, and this is the expression. This expression is very important. This is the basic definition, and the unit, and also the FPS unit, which is commonly used even today. So these are the thing. Okay, now we'll move into the next section, which is the related to energy. What is energy? Energy, what we say in physics, that it is the capacity of doing work. That means the amount of energy I am possessing right now, that amount of work I can do. So basically energy and work, they are similar. So we say that it is the capacity of doing work. Capacity of doing work. So energy and work, they are equivalent. You can understand that whatever amount of energy you have, that amount of work you can do. So energy and work, they are equivalent. So they have units and everything that is very similar. Okay, and energy has different subdivisions. We have lots of forms of energy, better to say forms. Like we have mechanical energy, and mechanical energy we have static or potential energy, we have kinetic or kinetic energy, and we have this classification. Then we have solar energy, sound energy, thermal energy, that is heat, light energy, electric energy, and nuclear energy. There are so many forms of energy. We'll come to know about all these, and already you have done a few things about all these and form of energies in class 9. So this we have concluded that energy and work, they are equivalent, and capacity of doing work is energy. So their unit is obviously joule in SI, and in CGS it is ergs, the same thing that we have, and we can have higher units like kilojoule, megajoule and all this. So energy is just like this. Now when we have already done this, let us do a simple problem. Then I think it will be more clear to you. Let us do a problem. Okay, let us the problem can be, okay, let's say a force of 750 Newton is pushing a car at a displacement of say 200 meters in say 10 seconds. Okay, force of an engine is pushing a car that is having a displacement of 200 meters in 10 seconds. We have to find the energy expenses, and we have to find the power of the engine. So you see, This is very clear, a simple sum. We have a force which is 750 Newton, is pushing a car or and making a displacement of 200 meters in 10 seconds. We have to find the energy. So energy is work. So energy is work and work is force into displacement. So what is energy? The first part I'm solving. What is energy? Force is 750 Newton and the displacement is 200 meter. So you can understand it is 75 into 2 is 150 and then we have 1, 2, 3. So 150 and then we have 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So we can write it is kilojoule. 150 kilojoule. Because I told you the whatever the unit of work, the same applies for energy because they are equivalent. Now we come to the power. Power of engine. So we have already understood. You can even write this in the full form. That is this one joule. This will help you. So this one's kilojoule. Removing 3 zeros is kilojoule. Alright. So power. Power is work done by time or energy by time. Energy is 150,000. And how much time? 10 seconds. So what is power? 1 0 off. Alright? And we have 3 zeros. So 1, 5, then 3 zeros. Watt, which is 15 kilowatt. So this is the power here. 15 kilowatt. And this is the energy here. 150 kilojoule. So we have already solved the problem. We have understood the concept of work. We have understood the unit, the power, the expression and also the energy. We have solved the problem. Now let us do few more problems. So you will understand how you approach towards the problem that those are there in your textbook in the exercise. Alright. Do copy or do it all the solve examples in your classwork so that you can understand how you have to approach. I am also showing few more sums. Okay, let's check it out. So this is problem 2. I have already solved it. I am just explaining you how to solve. The problem here it is given an agent, a person or engine or whatever. An agent spends 6.4 kilojoule of energy to displace a body by 64 meter in the same direction in 2.5 seconds. We have to calculate the force which the agent is applying and the power, but in horsepower, that means not in watt. Okay, so the solution goes like this. See it carefully. Okay, now you can see. Great. So they are given the energy, and energy is equivalent to work, and that is 6.4 kilojoule. So 64 into 1000, 6400 joule. And force is work done by displacement because W equals to Fs. So similarly you can understand. So 6400 divided by 64 meter is 100 Newton is the force. Great. So first part is over. The second part is power, which is more simpler. Just now we did one problem. Energy by time or work done by time, which is 6400 by 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds, that is the amount of power in watt. And then we have this 6400, since I have to convert it to horsepower, 1 horsepower is equal to 746 watt. So we have to now do a conversion from watt to HP. So I have to divide it by 746. So that we have done here. And this calculation will lead to a result of 3.43 horsepower. Don't forget to write this HP. Don't write watt, it will be, no, a lot of marks will be deducted, even you can get 0. Okay, because the unit is wrong. Even if you have done the calculation, you will get marks till here, but this portion you will get 0. So this is the problem. I hope you have understood. Now I'll move into another problem which is very interesting. So we are with the problem number 3. And what does it say? It says in problem 3, write it down in your classwork. A pump is lifting a load of water 500 liters, is given L, of water from 80 meter deep in 10 seconds. A pump is lifting a load of 500 liters of water from 80 meter depth in 10 seconds. We have to calculate the work done, the power and power rating. This is very interesting. This is something new concept. I'll explain to you. Power rating, if efficiency is 40%, and they have mentioned the value of G to be 10 meter per second square that we have to take. So this is the problem. Okay, so let us do one by one. Number 1 is the work done. and while doing the work done, we are taking some load from 80 meter till a point, so it is work done against gravity. Very good. So what is the expression against gravity? It is mgh. So for this we have to find the mass of water, which is given the volume, which is 500 liters. Remember this thing, 1 liter of water, it weighs, if it is pure, if its density is 1 kg per meter cube, then 1 liter of water, it weighs 1 kg. So if we have 500 liter, so it is equal to 500 kg, that is for sure. Okay, so here we have this info. So what is work done? mgh. What is m? 500. What is g? Is 10. And what is h? 80 meter. So what I am getting? How much? 8, 5, 40. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. 40 and 4 zeros. This much amount of joule. So you can easily understand it is quite large. So I can short it down. I can minimize the value. I write 400 kilojoule. This is the answer for here. And now we have the power. We have to calculate the power. Power is very simple. Is work done by time. Very good. Time is 10 seconds. We have 40 and then 4 zeros is energy or work, and 10. So power is 40 and 3 zeros watt, and that is 40 kilowatt. This is the second answer. This was the first answer. And the last one we have to do here, because we do not have any space. I am just erasing this one. So now I think this much space is enough. So for the part 3, my students, please concentrate. We have power rating. What does it mean? Actually, when a machine or pump or something, mechanical machine, when they are manufactured, they are intended to produce 100% power output, but it usually doesn't serve that. Why? Because there are a lot of parts, there are a lot of friction, a lot of heat, so energy is ultimately wasted. The amount of energy it should deliver, it doesn't give that. So we have a thing called power rating. If anything is written that this is the total amount of, this much is the power, this much horsepower, and at the beside it is also written what is the efficiency of it. Now what is efficiency? Efficiency is denoted by a letter which is called eta. It looks like N, with the leg of N is quite longer. So eta is efficiency, and we say it is either, you can say, work output by input. Actually it is output by input into 100. So here we are talking about power rating. So we'll write power output by power input. I hope you can see this into 100. So obviously the efficiency is 40%. So I can write 40 by 100 is equal to power output by power input. Input power we have 40,000. So let us write this. Okay. So what is the power output? The power rating that I am going to get, the amount of power I ultimately get. I am not going to get this power if it is having a rate efficiency of 40%. I'm sorry. So power output by input. Input power is this. What I can calculate it. This is the ideal. So that is the input that I have given. And output power, you can understand. We can cancel a lot of zeros here, and then it is 16,000 watt, and that is 16 kilowatt. You can understand the actual power was 40 kilowatt, but the power I am getting is 16 kilowatt. So you can understand the 24 kilowatt of power is lost, because it is having a low efficiency of 40%. Okay, usually the machines, we call it ideal for work which is having an efficiency which is more than 60 or nearing to 70%. But here, according to the problem, we have solved. Okay, so my dear students, this is it, the work, power, energy. We have got the introduction to these three terms. We have a lot of other things left in this section. I'll do in the next parts. But for this lesson is over. Now it's your part. Sit with your class book, sit with your textbook, read the chapter, learn it, learn all the concepts, and do all the distinctions like work and power, work and energy and everything. All these distinctions, and then solve examples are there, and then do the exercise and the numericals in your exercise which is given just after this chapter, and then we'll come up with our doubt clearing session in our Accentus WhatsApp group. Okay, so till then, bye bye, stay safe and stay productive. All right.